People say you can't rewrite your past, but on the morning Eleanor Hart, one of the city's youngest female CEOs, received an invitation to her ex-fiancé's wedding, she decided to prove the universe wrong. She needed a date. A convincing date. Someone steady, confident, and completely unavailable for real romance, and fate delivered her that person in the most unexpected form, a single dad repairing a coffee machine in her office lobby, who had no idea his entire life was about to change, because when Eleanor Hart walked up to him and asked, "Will you pretend to be my boyfriend for one day?" He looked at her, then at the little girl holding his hand, and gave an answer that would shock them both, and bind their stories forever. Eleanor Hart was used to control.at29, she ran Hart Innovations with the kind of precision that made older CEOs uncomfortable. She smiled rarely, trusted few, and lived her life at a speed no one could match, but that morning, everything stopped. A cream-colored envelope sat on her desk. Her assistant had placed it there with a soft, nervous tap. Eleanor recognized the handwriting before she even touched it. Noah Bennett, her ex-fiancé, the man who once promised her forever, and walked away when she needed him most. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. "You are warmly invited to the wedding of..." She didn't finish reading. The words blurred with a sting of humiliation she thought she buried years ago. She had moved on, built a company, proved every doubter wrong, but one invitation pulled her right back to the girl who cried herself to sleep. She stood up, needing air, needing something that didn't feel like her lungs collapsing. She walked to the lobby cafe of her headquarters, ignoring the staff who noticed the rare shake in her voice, and that's where she saw him. A tall man in a navy work shirt, sleeves rolled up, fixing the cafe's coffee machine as if it were a stubborn puzzle. A little girl, maybe 5, sat on a stool nearby, swinging her legs, humming softly. He looked tired. Not defeated, just stretched thin, the kind of tired a single parent wears like a second skin. Eleanor didn't know why she kept staring. Maybe because the world felt too heavy and this tiny father-daughter moment looked strangely warm. The machine hissed, sputtered, then released a perfect stream of espresso. The man laughed lightly. "That's my girl," he said, ruffling his daughter's hair. "Magic touch, huh?" The girl beamed. Something in Eleanor softened. For the first time since opening the envelope, she breathed. She stepped forward. "Excuse me, do you work here often?" He stood, wiping his hands. "Most days." "Name's Caleb Ward." He motioned to the girl, "And this troublemaker is Mila." Mila waved shyly. Eleanor tried to smile, but it cracked into something halfway between a breath and a plea. Caleb immediately noticed. "You okay? You look like someone just canceled Coffee Worldwide." It startled a small laugh out of her, the first in hours, and that's when her assistant's words echoed in her mind. "You can't go alone, everyone will be watching you." A terrible idea formed. A ridiculous idea, the kind of idea born when dignity collides with desperation. She looked up at Caleb, this stranger with warm eyes and a gentle presence she envied. "Caleb, I know this is insane. You have no reason to say yes. But," she swallowed hard, "I need a fake boyfriend. For one day. Tomorrow. At my ex's wedding." Caleb blinked 3 times. Mila's jaw dropped comically. Eleanor braced herself for rejection, laughter, or worse, pity, but instead Caleb said, softly, "Why do I feel like you really need this?" Her throat tightened. She nodded once, unable to find words. Caleb exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "I'm a single dad, Eleanor. My life is chaos on good days. I fix machines, not heartbreaks." He glanced at Mila, "And I can't leave her alone tomorrow." Eleanor's chest sank, but then Mila tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, I can come. I'll wear my sparkly dress. I like weddings." Caleb stared at his daughter in disbelief. Mila whispered loudly, "She looks sad. We should help her." Eleanor felt a warmth hit her eyes. Embarrassing, unexpected. Caleb turned back to her. He didn't know her pain. He didn't know her story, but he saw something honest in her eyes, and that was enough. Finally, he said, "Okay, Eleanor. I'll be your boyfriend, for one day." And just like that, her entire life pivoted. The next day, Eleanor stood in front of her mirror, trying to calm the storm in her stomach. She wore a deep blue dress, elegant, powerful, yet soft enough she didn't look like she came to conquer the wedding. But when the doorbell rang and she opened it, she nearly froze. Caleb stood there, cleaned up, wearing a fitted charcoal suit that made him look nothing like the exhausted mechanic she met yesterday. His hair was combed back, his expression steady, but his eyes were still warm. Beside him, Mila twirled in a tiny light blue dress, holding a small purse shaped like a star. "You look beautiful," Caleb said, and it wasn't a line. It was genuine. Gentle, the kind of compliment that didn't demand anything in return. They drove to the venue in a silence that felt strangely comforting. The wedding was at a lakeside resort, elegant, expensive, dripping with memories Eleanor wished she could erase. As they walked in, whispers started immediately. Is that Eleanor? Who's the man? She brought someone, wow. Caleb slipped his hand in hers without breaking stride. His grip was steady, grounding. It felt less like a performance and more like a promise. You're not alone today. Her heartbeat steadied. Then she saw him, Noah, smiling at his bride, the same smile he once gave Eleanor. Her chest tightened painfully. Caleb leaned in, voice low. You want to leave? She shook her head. No. Not this time. I want to face it. Throughout the ceremony, Caleb stayed near her, subtle but protective. Whenever someone whispered too loudly, he shifted closer. When someone asked too many questions, he answered calmly, effortlessly. At one point, Mila tugged Eleanor's arm. Auntie Ellie, don't be sad. Daddy says people leave when they're not your people. Eleanor blinked hard. That small sentence broke her in the best way. After the ceremony, Noah finally approached. Shock flickered in his eyes when he saw Caleb's arm around Eleanor's waist. Eleanor. I didn't expect you to come. His gaze dropped to Caleb. And you brought someone. Caleb smiled politely, her boyfriend. Noah's jaw twitched. For the first time, Eleanor didn't feel small. She didn't feel abandoned, she felt chosen. Later, while they walked near the lake, Caleb asked, Did you love him? She hesitated. I loved who he was supposed to be. But people change when they fear strong women. Caleb looked at her with a soft intensity. Then he never deserved you. Strength isn't something to fear, Eleanor. It's something to stand beside. Her breath caught. No one had ever said something like that to her. As the sun set, Mila fell asleep in Caleb's arms. The wedding noise faded behind them. Eleanor turned to Caleb. Thank you. I know today was pretend, but you made it feel like I wasn't unwanted. Caleb shook his head. Don't ever say that. You were never unwanted. You were just waiting for someone who saw your worth clearly. He hesitated, then added, and for what it's worth, today didn't feel fake to me. Eleanor's heart stuttered. For the first time in years, she wondered if letting someone in wasn't the same as losing control. Maybe it was just gaining a different kind of strength. The night ended softly. No confessions, no grand declaration, just the quiet understanding that something new had begun, something real, something healing, something she never expected when she asked a stranger for a favor. And as Caleb carried his sleeping daughter to the car, Eleanor whispered to herself, maybe one day. He won't be my fake boyfriend.